Hi, this is Jenny Walker from DigiGoods and Printables, ELA. Welcome to Section 7 of my Argumentative Essay Writing Workshop, Counterclaim or Counterargument. If you've stumbled upon this video from YouTube, you can find a link for this workshop in the description. Let's get started. As I've mentioned in previous videos, writing is very subjective. That means not everybody agrees on everything. This is especially true when it comes to placement of the counterclaim. Some people believe it should have a paragraph all of its own, usually located after the introductory paragraph. Others believe that you should address the counterclaim in the introductory paragraph. This workshop was designed to allow you to do it either way or to put it where your teacher would like for it to go. Let's have a word about counterclaim or a counterargument. Counterclaim, aka counterargument, is the part of your essay where the main opposing claim is acknowledged and discredited. To discredit the claim, you write a rebuttal, which is where you will make a statement or two about why the opposing claim is wrong. It might seem strange to point out the opposite of what you're trying to prove, but it's actually very important. Providing a counterclaim allows you to discredit or disprove your opponent's viewpoint, and the audience was probably already thinking about it anyway. It shows that you are well educated on the topic, and it makes your own argument seem more valid because it shows that you understand both sides of the argument and still stand behind your claim. Take a few minutes, pause this video, and click to watch this short lesson on counterargument. Now that you know quite a bit about counterargument and counterclaim, let's do a quick recap. Counterclaim may also be referred to as counterargument in this workshop. The word refute is the act of rebutting. This means to oppose. A refuting fact is the proof that the opponent will use to argue their claim. Some believe it's necessary to include it in the counterclaim. Others leave it out. Below, you'll see an example of it. Follow your teacher's guidelines on this matter. Let's go ahead and take a look at an example of a counterclaim. All of the elements or parts of a counterclaim have been highlighted for you. Some believe that students should attend school all year long. This is the counterclaim. This is what the opponent would say. And then to refute this fact is they say that a learning gap occurs over the summer months and students lose information they had gained during the year. So this is the counterclaim is that students should attend school all year. That's what some people believe. And the refuting fact is that they would lose learning due to gaps over the summer months. And here's a transition. While there may be a smidgen of truth to this belief, and here comes the rebuttal in yellow, a far greater concern is that year-round school causes students to miss valuable family and social interactions. So as you can see in this example, the writer brings up the opponent's belief, tells what fact they are going to use to argue their belief, and then has a smooth transition into their rebuttal that tells why their belief is wrong or silly or inaccurate. And this counterclaim is part of a paragraph. This would be located in the introductory paragraph. Let's scroll down and speak just a moment about transitioning. We're going to go deeper into that later, but let's just take a look at transitioning. A great place for a transition or transitional phrase is right after you give your opponent's claim and right before you refute it. This helps the reader to connect the ideas that you're presenting. Think of them as bridges from one idea to the next. Without these transitions, readers would have to stop and think about what they're reading because it wouldn't flow very well. So in these boxes are some transitions that you could use. However, while this may be true, on the other hand, on the contrary, otherwise, you get the picture. You can always come back and borrow these transitions as well. Now let's take a look at an example that has a transition, and then we'll read it without the transition and think about how it sounds. Here we go. Some people firmly believe that ghosts are real. They claim that noises recorded in empty rooms proves this. While this may be true, in yellow, there is no evidence to support this idea. Now, let's read this example without the transition. Some people firmly believe that ghosts are real. They claim noises recorded in empty rooms prove this. There is no evidence to support this idea. So do you notice that it makes you have to stop and think, and it doesn't really make a lot of sense? The information seems a little contradictory, like here you're saying they're real, here you're saying there's no evidence to support it. This transition makes this example flow very nicely and makes it easy to understand. More about transitions later. Let's scroll down to the next slide. For me, this is slide 56. It should be somewhere in that vicinity for you. If you're required or you plan to use the counterclaim in a paragraph all of its own, here's some things that you should read. A counterclaim paragraph the paragraph method. What is included in a counterclaim paragraph? Well, you must do more than simply identify the opposing claim. When writing your counterargument paragraph, you should respond to the other position in your paragraph. Here's some tips. Number 1, identify the opposing argument. Number 2, respond to it by discussing the reasons the argument is incomplete, weak, unsound, or illogical. 3, you would provide examples or evidence to show why the opposing argument is unsound, or provide explanations of how the opposing argument is incomplete or illogical. Number 3 is this is something you don't have to do if you're putting this in the introductory paragraph. Putting it in the counterclaim paragraph all by itself goes a little deeper. And number 4, you'll close by stating your own argument and why your argument is stronger than the identified counterargument. Okay, so go ahead and move down to the next paragraph, and here is space for you to write your counterclaim. You can either write your full paragraph, if that's how you're doing it, or you can create your counterclaim in this space. Use the tips on this to the left to guide you as you're writing, and notice that you have a gold star that says counterclaim, and that means that later on you can come by and cut and paste the work that you've done into your introductory paragraph and later into your full. And that concludes this section of your argumentative essay writing workshop. In the next section, we're going to quickly go over how to put your information together in the introductory paragraph. Again, if you've stumbled upon this video from YouTube, you can find a link to the workshop in the description. I'm Jenny Walker from DigiGoods and Printables ELA, and I'll see you in the next workshop.